Hey, everybody, how are you doing today? Welcome to the Lunch and Learn. Yes, the Lunch and Learn every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. You will get an education of some kind somehow. Today, it's just me. Yep, I don't have any special guests today like I had last week. I had quite the quadre last week of three other people helping me and showing me, what an expert unleashed looked like and how they use the system and how they just leverage this whole thing. But today I want to know what you're having for lunch because that's important to me. It is called a lunch and learn for a reason, right? We do it at lunchtime so folks can get a short dose of information and education during their lunchtime. And I don't like these things to go on for too long. So you're looking at 20, 30 minutes today, max, might even be shorter. Who knows? I do have a slide deck to share with you today, but hello, Natalie Jo Becker. How are you today? Good to see you. Would love to know what you're having for lunch while people are logging on and getting on with us. I will get started here in a second. Listen, we're going to talk about one and done today. And you may be going, one and done, what does that mean? It's called luck, right? Luck in marketing. And it does happen. One and done means, can I just send one postcard out and be done? And will that work? Well, I have an answer for you today for sure. Tony Chamberlain, good to see you. And you're having shortbread cookies. Holy smokes, I hope you got some milk or some coffee or something good to go with those shortbread cookies, because that sounds pretty tasty to me. I think I'd be all up in all of that and want a whole bunch more than just a couple. Unfortunately, when it comes to me and cookies, they go pretty darn quick. So, all right, let us go ahead and get started with a talk about one and done. Does one and done work, right? And I'm going to start off and I'm going to show you that it can work, but then I'm going to talk about what real marketers do. And that's what I want to really get through today. So one and done, does it work? Let us go ahead and find out. Yes, one and done can work. But let me share something with you. One and done means you got lucky. There wasn't much skill involved. There may have been some skill if you choose the right audience, right? You actually have their first names. You know all the demographics about them. It fits your business and it just works. That's that can be and can work in a one and done scenario. Now, not all of us get that lucky, right? All of us don't get that lucky. So one and done. I'm going to give you some examples of some one and dones that worked. And then I'm going to show you some other things and talk about real marketing tactics and what a brand impression is. So let's go ahead and get to it. So here's an example. This is a landscaper, and this was a one and done. I mean, literally a one and done. He picked a great neighborhood. He used our list builder and got knew the demographics, how old the homes were, the area, the whole thing. He sent 4x6 postcards, right? The smallest we have, 1,263 of them. It cost him $467.31. And I want you to look at the card, how simple it is. Hello, first name. That's all that's on the front, right? It leads the recipient to flip the thing over because they have your name. Like, what are they talking about? Get ready for spring, pruning and mulching specials. I mean, this whole thing just made a ton of sense. The return on his investment was north of $100,000. And he was so busy by the time I called him, he was like, hey, I got to get off the phone with you, man. I really appreciate you. It's north of $100,000. So that's what we called it. This was a one and done, and it worked for him. Handyman Example. This was done by my boys, my twins, and I had a handyman business. And they weren't one and done, but this was the very first one they sent. They sent 4x6 postcards, 955 of them, cost $353.35. The return on the investment was $19,000 in sales. Now, nothing like the previous example. And I also have to talk about this example. Now, this was a one and done with $19,000 in sales, but let's just say they were like, hey, Dad, we're going to do that again. Sure, go ahead. It didn't turn out the same the next time or the next time. But the next time, because they were going after the same audience, it did start to work. And that was the key, that it was a repetitive brand impression that worked. But this time, this was a one and done. All right, whole hogs. Yes, this is a big one, right? This was a massive one because Hogz is a company who digs holes using hydro excavation or water. And the plan was to send out 3 separate shipments in an automation to 20 people. And these were 20 decision makers that actually hired people to dig holes every day, every month, and every year in the county that the business is in. Now, with that being said, 20 shipments, $583.40 was the cost for the 20 shipments. And you could see what was in it. It was a personalized box, a foldable phone holder, a set of brownies, and a card, and says, "We're ready when you are." Now, here's what happened. We never even really got to the second shipment before he called and said, turn it off. I don't have more equipment. I can't do anymore. And $1.1 million in sales and $600,000 in pending sales. That's what happened from one shipment. Imagine what would happen if the second and third shipments went out. I'm assuming, and I've got to call him because I know he got more equipment. I'm going to say, "Hey, is it time again? Do you want more business? Let's make this thing happen." So that's just exactly, these are one and done examples. But I want to talk about marketing and brand impressions. This is the basic blocking and tackling of marketing. A brand impression. What is a brand impression? Anytime your logo or your brand is seen, I could tell you right now, I could show you 3 different shades of yellow and you would pick out McDonald's shade of yellow all day long. You know it. I could show you 3 different cursive fonts and you would pick out the Coca-Cola font. That's a brand impression, right? Fonts, colors, logos, these all are considered a brand impression. And here's, one of the things I really, really wanted to talk about today is this. When you are using direct mail or any other form of marketing, you're marketing to a group of people and hopefully you have solid leads. You're using List Builder. You know that these people are actually qualified or could have the desire or have the means to purchase your product and probably want it. Once you know that, okay, great. I've got 353 people that I believe are great, subjects for my business. But stop and think about for a minute, when you make a purchase, when you make a decision, what are you doing? Do you make the decision right out of the gate and just like, "Oh yeah, there it is, first time, I'm just going to go do it"? Not really. Some of us do, depending on what it is, but larger decisions like landscaping or something like a handyman job where somebody's got to come over. I'm wanting to call. I'm wanting to kind of figure out what's going on here. And those brand impressions are super, super important. It's super important that you understand that most people aren't going to make a decision off of the first touch. It might be the second, the third, the 7th, the 12th, which is why we talk about follow-up so much, because follow-up is so important. What is follow-up? Basically a repeated brand impression. It's a repeated message saying, "Hi, I'm here. This is what I do. We talked before. Are you still interested?" When you talk about a lot of these things, it makes a lot of sense. Just a basic marketing tactic. You want to be able to make sure that when it's time for somebody to make a decision, that you're the one that's top of mind with them. It's your message top of mind with that prospective customer. If you're not staying top of mind, if you're not repeatedly marketing to that audience, they will forget about you. They will forget about you. So now, my good friend Casey Eberhardt, a master marketer, he taught me something once. He goes, everybody has to know, like, and trust you to do business with you. But he says there's something missing. Known, liked, and trusted. I think all of us have heard this. But the key is number 4. It's to be remembered when it's time to make a purchase. It's to be remembered when it's time to make a referral. This is why the realtors love some of our automations. Specifically, our automation, that's the ultimate closing gift that sends a gift every 90 days for 2.5 years. It's a repeated brand impression. That's what they're doing. They're saying, "Hi, customer, I love you. Thank you for your business. I really, really appreciate you." And a gift shows up every 90 days for 2.5 years. What's happening? It's a repeated brand impression. It's a repeated message that I appreciate you and I appreciate your business. And what happens when people appreciate you? They raise their hand every time. I've often used this. I want to put helium in the hands of every one of your customers. What does that even mean, right? Like, Joe, what? Helium in the hand? Yeah. When somebody says, hey, do you know a good realtor? Oh, yep, pick me. My realtor's been sending me a gift every 90 days for 2 years, and they're amazing. They got me to the right house. They did a great job. You've got to call them. That's what we're after, right? Yeah. And when it's time, that is the key to this whole thing. When it's time to be remembered, that is what you're after. So with that being said, let's go back to this marketing and brand impressions. I think I got that point across pretty clearly. Repeated brand impressions win every single time. This is the deal. What is your competition doing? Are they doing a one and done and you're absolutely crushing it by actually being out there in front of your potential customers or your existing customer base on a consistent basis? Or are you just hanging out, right? And hoping for the one and done, hoping to be lucky like Vegas, right? Yep. I put some money in the machine. I push the button, pull the handle, whatever it is. I roll the dice. Well, I don't mind luck, but boy, I really, really like to deal with solid information, with a solid tactic. And that's what we're talking about with these repeated brand impressions and how they win every time. Have you ever heard of the marketing rule of 7? Yes, also known as the advertising rule of 7. It's a common belief that customers need to see an ad 7 times before making a purchase. By the way, this was developed in the 1930s. The 1930s by the movie industry when they figured out that people had to see the movie poster 7 times before they'd come see the movie. And that is basically where this whole notion was born about repeated brand impressions. And that's it, 7 times. So are your potential customers seeing your business 7 times? Are they seeing 7 different things that don't connect the dots for them? Are you using common colors? Are you using common fonts? Are you using common imagery? Where you're sending them, your call to action, does it look like it belongs to the same business? You have to start asking these questions because the marketing rule of 7 is a stable rule that's been around for almost 100 years. And I'm sure long before that anyway. But I definitely wanted to bring that out. Now, out of sight, out of mind. Are you doing anything at all? And let's remember, one and done, you're out of sight and you're out of mind. You had one chance, one opportunity, and it's over. It's done. It's gone. So what's happening now, when we talk about these repeated brand impressions, you are in sight and you are top of mind. You're in their sight and you are top of mind. Okay. How can you reach out to your audience? Now, as you know, I'm very bullish on the mailbox. I love the mailbox. That is my horse, right? That's my horse in the race. But what I am telling you as well, that you should be using the email. You should be using social media. You should be texting and you should be making calls. Your existing customers need to know that you love them and you want to know how they're doing. How long does it take to pick up your phone and text somebody and say, "Hi, Marie, how are you? Just wondering how you're doing. I haven't talked to you in a while." That's it. And they'll respond and go, "Oh, wow. Well, why is Joe thinking about me? What's going on? He must really like me." Yeah, that's exactly how the whole thing works. So phone calls, pick up the phone once in a while. You don't have to do it every week. You don't have to do it every month, but you need to do it on occasion for sure. My good friend Todd Falcone teaches this, that, making an investment into an emotional bank account of people is what really works. You should all be using a website. If you use billboards, TV ads, radio ads, all of these things work. And there is so many other channels. These are the basics right here of how you can reach out to your audience and what you can expect from these. So the smarter marketer understands the rule of 7. And although one and done can work, understanding this premise is really super, super important. That you stay top of mind, that you make sure your message is hitting folks when they're making that decision, not getting lucky and sending one and expecting the whole world to come to you and fill your coffers with new business and money. The bottom line is, if you want this to work, one and done can work. But let's just make that your first card that you send out, your first piece that you send out. You don't have to be one and done, but make sure you start, with engagement in mind, with repeated brand impressions in mind, with all of the trappings that you need to gain a new customer or to stay top of mind and make sure your existing customer base actually knows that you love them. So, yes, the smarter marketer understands the rule of 7. Now, like I said, one and done, it can work for sure. But if I were to give guidance, and I've been doing this for just a minute, my guidance is this. If you're an insurance agent and you think you're going to get away with one and done, you're wrong. It's not going to work. It might work and you might get lucky, but plan to market yourself. Plan for those repeated brand impressions. Plan on using different platforms that include the mailbox. The cost and the rate of return is amazing. Absolutely amazing. So listen, folks, the whole deal behind this is to not be lucky. It's to be the smart marketer. It's to understand your marketplace. It's to understand your customer base. It's to understand your leads and the demographics. Who are they? How much money do they need? Do they need to own a home or not own a home? I'm in pet care. Do they need pets? It doesn't. You just need to understand the demographics of your audience to really help make this work. And stick to these tactics. It's really, really simple. Imagine, you just go, okay, I'm sending 7 cards and here's the timing. I'm 7 postcards, or I'm sending a greeting card and a postcard and a postcard and a gigagram. Those 7 impressions and the return on that investment is what's super important here. That's it. Bottom line, be a good marketer, understand the rule of 7, and also understand that when I say one and done, that means your first attempt. That's your first, like whole Hogz, right? They sent the first one out. They did swimmingly well and they turned it off. But if they wouldn't have done swimmingly well, they had multiple chances behind that with other touches. That was the deal. They decided to shut it off because they couldn't handle the business that they got from the first touch. Don't we all wish we had that problem, right? That's exactly what we all want. But anyway, stay top of mind, know your audience, understand your marketing, and don't plan on a one and done and it's just going to work. It just takes time. It's marketing. It's brand impressions. Anyway, I appreciate you all being here with me today. That's all I have with my one and done presentation. Look at me going at 18 minutes. I appreciate your time today so much. Listen, to see this Lunch and Learn or any other Lunch and Learn, go to youtube.com/mailbox power. And you will find all of our Lunch and Learns there. Lots of good information. We've had lots of different folks present all different kinds of topics. And I think they're all amazing. And I think you're amazing. I'm thankful that you were here today. I'm thankful that you gave up 20 minutes of your time. I know it's your most valuable asset. I appreciate you. I love you. Have a great day. And we'll see you next week.